Awayuki Kokorone was just another small streamer trying to find her place in the vast world of virtual idols. She was known for her pure and gentle personality, always thanking her tiny audience for their support. As the stream ended, she sighed with relief and reached for a familiar silver can. Thinking her mic was off, she let out a loud burp and began to rant about her lack of views. She cracked open the drink and started talking about how much she loved the burn of the alcohol. Thousands of viewers watched in shock as the pure idol they knew transformed into a rowdy drunk. Instead of being angry, the internet found her unfiltered honesty absolutely hilarious. The next morning, Awayuki woke up on her floor with a pounding headache and a buzzing phone. Her manager, Suzuki, was screaming through the speakers about the 10,000 people still watching her sleep. She realized with horror that she had never actually turned off the broadcast. Suzuki told her to stay calm, revealing that she was now the #1 trending topic. The company wasn't going to fire her. In fact, they were thrilled by the massive spike in numbers. Awayuki felt sick to her stomach, thinking her reputation as a sweet girl was ruined forever. However, her manager revealed that they always knew she was a little bit crazy. They had hired her specifically because they saw her potential to be an unpredictable star. Suzuki advised her to stop pretending and just be her true chaotic self from now on. She started reading the comments and saw that people actually loved the real her. Popular VTubers like Hikari even reached out to congratulate her on her sudden success. Hikari mentioned hearing Awayuki talk about gooning during her drunk stream, which left her confused. It turned out Hikari thought it was a compliment and invited her to collaborate soon. Awayuki walked to the convenience store, thinking about how her life had flipped upside down in one night. She realized she was tired of struggling to maintain a fake image that didn't pay the bills. If people wanted the drunk, unfiltered Awayuki, then that's exactly what she would give them. She returned home and immediately started a new stream, this time with a can in hand. The chat exploded with excitement as she officially introduced her strong zero mode. She admitted she was a lightweight but needed the alcohol to cope with the pressure of streaming. When fans asked why she wasn't pure anymore, she joked that her model was the only thing still innocent. She even went as far as to say she would marry a can of strong zero if she could. Suddenly, she noticed two of her favorite senior VTubers, Sei and Shion, watching her stream. Overcome with drunken courage, she shouted that she wanted them to marry her and have her children. The viewers couldn't believe how direct she was, and the senpais were equally surprised. To her delight, Sei agreed to a future collaboration, making Awayuki's dream come true. The next day, Awayuki woke up and immediately regretted every single word she had said. She blamed the alcohol for making her act so embarrassing in front of her idols. But she had to admit that the drunk persona was the only reason her career was finally taking off. It felt like the cans of strong zero in the fridge were calling out to her for the next stream. She decided to invite her character designer, Mashiro, for a special collaboration to celebrate. Mashiro was shocked to see Awayuki in full strong zero mode for the first time. Awayuki shared stories about her past as a corporate slave and how she hated her old job. She had resigned to follow her dream, and now she was finally living it, one drink at a time. Awayuki sat at her desk, staring at the skyrocketing follower count that had changed her life overnight. Her management company, Live On, was suddenly flooded with requests for the drunkard idol to appear on other channels. She realized that her fake, polite persona was officially dead and buried. To celebrate the transition, she cracked open a fresh can of her favorite high-alcohol beverage. The familiar hiss of the carbonation was the only music she needed to feel at peace. A sudden notification pinged on her screen, inviting her to a collaboration with the legendary Sei-chan. Sei-chan was known for her elegance, which was the polar opposite of Awayuki's current reputation. The thought of streaming with such a high-profile senior made Awayuki's hands tremble. She took a massive gulp of strong zero to steady her nerves before replying. With the alcohol kicking in, she typed out a bold acceptance message. The day of the collaboration arrived, and the live chat was moving too fast to read. Sei-chan opened the stream with her signature sophisticated greeting. Awayuki joined the voice call, accidentally knocking over an empty can in the process. The metallic clanging sound echoed through the high-quality microphones of both streamers. Sei-chan chuckled, asking if her guest was already starting the party early. Awayuki admitted she was on her third can, causing the chat to erupt in laughter. They decided to play a horror game together, a genre Awayuki usually hated. As the first jump scare happened, Awayuki let out a scream that sounded more like a bark. She then proceeded to yell insults at the digital ghost, fueled by liquid courage. Sei-chan was fascinated by how different Awayuki's energy was compared to other idols. The stream became an instant hit, trending on social media within minutes. After 4 hours of chaotic gameplay, Awayuki felt the exhaustion of the alcohol wearing off. Sei-chan thanked her for the stream and whispered that they should do it again soon. Ending the stream, Awayuki felt a sense of accomplishment she had never known before. However, her manager called her immediately after to discuss her drinking habits. The manager warned her that while the fans loved it, the sponsors were getting nervous. Awayuki argued that the fans loved her for who she actually was. She realized that her brand was now tied to a substance that could eventually ruin her health. But then she saw a fan-made animation of her fighting a dragon with a giant can of booze. She decided to push through the concerns and double down on her unique identity. The next week, she was invited to a physical meetup with the other members of her generation. Meeting them in person meant she couldn't hide behind a digital avatar. She packed a small bag, making sure to hide a few cans in the bottom for emergencies. When she arrived at the studio, she met Mashiro, who was much shorter than she expected. The group bonded over dinner, though Awayuki was the only one drinking heavily. She ended up giving a drunken lecture about the importance of flavor profiles in cheap alcohol. To her surprise, they didn't judge her, they actually found her honesty refreshing. As the night wound down, she realized she was finally making real friends. But as she reached her apartment, she noticed a black car parked outside that she didn't recognize. A woman in a sharp suit stepped out, holding a tablet with a picture of Awayuki's face on it. The woman looked at her and asked if she was the one they called the Strong Zero Queen. She handed Awayuki a gold-embossed envelope that felt unusually heavy. Inside was an invitation to a secret event that could change the VTubing world forever. Before she could ask any questions, the woman got back into the car and drove away without a word. Awayuki stood alone in the dark, clutching the gold letter while a cold realization washed over her. Awayuki stood alone in the dark, clutching the gold letter while a cold realization washed over her. The letter contained a formal invitation to headline the live-on annual festival alongside the legendary Asagiri. Before she could process the news, her phone exploded with notifications about the debut of the fourth generation. She tuned into the debut stream just in time to see the new VTubers causing absolute mayhem. These newcomers were even more unhinged than she was, featuring a vampire who hated blood and a nun who loved gambling. Awayuki felt a strange sense of kinship as she watched them break every rule of traditional idol behavior. She realized that the era of the pure idol was truly over, replaced by this chaotic honesty. The next morning, Awayuki arrived at the studio to begin rehearsals for the festival with Asagiri. Asagiri was already there, practicing her dance moves with a precision that was breathtaking to behold. Awayuki stood at the door, feeling like an imposter in the presence of such professional talent. Asagiri noticed her and stopped, offering a rare and gentle smile that eased Awayuki's tension. The legendary idol confessed that she actually envied Awayuki's ability to be so unashamedly herself. Awayuki hadn't realized that even the most successful streamers struggled with the weight of their public personas. They spent the following weeks practicing a high-energy song that blended Asagiri's grace with Awayuki's raw energy. During breaks, Awayuki introduced Asagiri to the wonders of different flavored canned cocktails. The two bonded over shared secrets and the absurd pressure of staying relevant in a digital world. Finally, the night of the Live On annual festival arrived, and the stadium was packed with thousands of fans. Behind the curtain, Awayuki's legs felt like jelly as the roar of the crowd vibrated through the floor. Asagiri reached out and took her hand, her grip firm and grounding. She told Awayuki to forget the idol rules and simply have a drink and a good time on stage. Awayuki took a final deep breath and pulled a hidden can of strong zero from her costume's garter. She cracked it open with a satisfying posh that echoed through her headset microphone. The crowd erupted in cheers as they heard that iconic sound over the stadium speakers. Awayuki burst onto the stage, her energy instantly electrifying the entire arena. Asagiri joined her, and their voices blended in a perfect, high-octane pop anthem. Halfway through the song, Awayuki took a long swig and launched into an improvised drunken rap about the struggles of adult life. The audience went wild, chanting Strong Zero in a deafening rhythm that shook the walls. Asagiri didn't miss a beat, providing elegant backing vocals that made the chaotic performance feel like high art. For the first time in her career, Awayuki wasn't playing a character, she was simply herself, and the world loved her for it. The song ended with a massive confetti explosion that covered the stage in shimmering paper. Back in the dressing room, the two idols collapsed onto a sofa, breathing heavily, but wearing identical grins. Asagiri thanked Awayuki for reminding her why she started streaming in the first place. Awayuki realized that her failure of a stream had actually been the greatest success of her life. She knew that the road ahead would still be chaotic, but she no longer feared the judgment of others. A few weeks later, Awayuki hosted a massive collaboration stream with all the generations of Live On. The stream was a glorious mess of drinking games, bad puns, and genuine heartfelt moments. She looked at the chat and saw her fans, the Awayuki Gumi, supporting her more fiercely than ever. She thought back to that first night, when she thought her career was over. Sometimes, the best version of yourself is the one you're most afraid to show the world. Awayuki raised her can toward the moon and whispered a quiet cheers to her chaotic, wonderful life. And with a final happy click of the end stream button, the story of the Strong Zero idol reached its perfect conclusion.